The course we are learning is discrete math. We are discussing the subject of logic and we're talking about quantifiers. So we have two quantifiers that we keep bumping into. One quantifier looks like this. And this means that there exists some number that then we can say something about this number that exists. The other quantifier that we usually see looks like this. And that's the quantifier that means whichever number in the world that we will choose, and then we can say something about this number. And what we've seen is that there's some kind of assignment that we many times see during our classes. And we see that sometimes we are asked to put a negation sign in the beginning of a sentence. And the negation sign, or the not sign, looks like this. And when we have this kind of negation sign in the beginning of a sentence, sometimes our assignment as student is to push this negation sign and to kind of try to move it more inwards into the depth of the sentence that is in front of us without changing the meaning of the sentence, keeping the meaning the same, but kind of pushing this negation sign to be more into the depth of the sentence, more to the right of it, and maybe even eliminate it totally. So in the previous videos I showed you all kind of ways that we can do that, and now is the final video that I'm going to show you how to eliminate the negation sign in many cases that we encounter at the end of our work. So let's say that I really did a good work, I pushed the negation sign as much as I could into the depth of the sentence, to the right hand of the sentence, and sometimes in the end I encounter this kind of structure. I have some kind of parenthesis. Inside this parenthesis there is some kind of equation. And I'm not even writing what equates to what because it doesn't really matter. I mean, whatever something equals something else. It doesn't matter if it's numbers or quantifiers or variables or whatever. There is some kind of parenthesis, and in it there is some kind of the equal sign. And in front of this parenthesis we see that we have this negation sign. So what do we do now? How can we eliminate this negation sign? And actually there is a way that we may use to write this phrase in a different way that eliminates the negation sign. And the way I do it, I write it this way. So notice that nothing really has changed in the equation. I mean, the same thing, the same stuff that was written here before continues to be written. I didn't even bother to write it right now because it doesn't really matter. But the important thing is that I eliminated the negation sign. I really just dropped it. But please remember not to keep this equal sign the same as it was. I have to add to it this little line, the little line on it that means that it is not equal. Okay, so what I did is I eliminated the negation sign that was in front of the parenthesis, but please remember to change the equal sign to not equal. And when I do it this way, actually those two sentences, those two phrases, the one above and the one below, they're exactly the same. So I can choose whichever one I want, and if I choose to rewrite this sentence in this way, I am getting closer to my goal to get rid of all of the negation signs. And now I'm going to show you another thing that sometimes we encounter after we did the good work and kind of push this negation sign to the end of the sentence. And we can sometimes find this kind of phrase. So sometimes after we are working with a sentence and we kind of do all the things that we need to do to push the negation sign more into the depth of the sentence, we encounter this kind of structure. So we have some kind of parenthesis. There is some kind of equation here that means that something is bigger than something else. I didn't even bother to write what it is. You just insert there whatever you encounter in your homework. But we see that we have some parenthesis, and something is bigger than the other thing. And there is a negation sign just in front of the parenthesis. So there is a way I can eliminate the negation sign and write this sentence in a different way with no negation sign. And here is how I do it. So please notice, I eliminated the negation sign. It is no longer here in this way, in the way that I wrote it here. But please notice, I flipped the direction of this symbol. It is no longer something is bigger than something. Now it's something is smaller than something, but not just smaller, but may also be equal. Please remember, I added this small line here that means equation, means equal. So instead of being something that is bigger than something else, now it's something that is smaller than something else or equals to it. And actually those two ways of writing things, the one above and the one below, are interchangeable. They're the same. So in any time I can rewrite what is written above, and to write it in the way that I wrote it below, I eliminated the negation sign. This is something that I wanted to do. This is something that I was supposed to do. This was my task. And another way I may do this kind of trick, it's kind of similar. So if in my sentence I encounter this kind of phrase, when I have a negation sign in front of a parenthesis and inside I see the sign that means smaller than, something is smaller than something else, I can rewrite all of this in a different way while I am eliminating the negation sign. Here is how I'm going to write it. Have you noticed? The way I wrote it below doesn't use negation sign at all. It was eliminated, but please remember, friends, don't forget to flip the direction of the symbol. On this sentence above, it was written something is smaller than something. Here, in the way that I rewrite it, in the way that I rewritten it, it is now at the different direction. It's now, you see that this point, it's pointing to the different direction. Now, first it was something smaller than something else. Now it's something that is bigger than something else or equal to it. So please remember to put this line here that means equal. So it's not just bigger than, but it's bigger or equal than something else. And these two ways to write this sentence, they're equal to each other, they're the same, they're interchangeable. I can easily, instead of keeping this way of writing stuff, I can write it in this way. In that way, I eliminated the negation sign. It vanishes and it helps me to achieve my task, to push the negation sign as much as I can inside the sentence, or in this case, even to eliminate it completely. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope to see you all in the next lesson.